Hey, grab your favorite cup and pull up a chair. I'm Jess, and welcome to the Empress. If life feels a little loud right now, take a breath. You're in the right place. You know how sometimes you need a tarot reader and sometimes you need a therapist? Well, here you get both. I'm mixing the behavioral science from my clinical background with the intuition of the tarot to help you simplify the chaos. Let's make some magic. Hey, hi, hello. Welcome or welcome back to the pod. I'm happy to be here. I cannot believe we have gone through so much in the last year. Before we dive into the cards, I want to share a shift that we're making in 2026. If you've been with me for a while, you know that my usual format is like what's coming, what we're leaving behind. That was sort of the tarot spread that I was doing month after month. I have to keep things fresh on my end of things because it helps me bring that fire to what I'm doing. And that feeling is really important to me. Can I go through things that are monotonous? Yes, but I don't want my podcast to be monotonous. I don't want to have that feeling here. It's like not a good vibe. So, yeah, we've got a new perspective. So, we're going to retire that old spread. Okay. It's in the vaults. We love it. We're leaving it. New year, new me. Um, Welcome to the magician's table. Every month, we are still going to be looking at three things, but those three things are different. So, the first thing is what we're building, okay? The blueprint. The second thing is the tool. So, we're going to pull a card for that. What do we need to use? And then the third thing is the spark, the action that we need to take. And this is all coming from the tarot card, the magician. On the magician's table are all of these different tools, and the magician is in the position to co create. Now, one thing I'm not changing about my podcast is the blend of spirituality and science, the blend of spirituality and practical mental health advice. Those things are going to remain the same. That is who I am. I'm a person that brings those two things together in my personal life. We're going to keep that going. You might be hearing me shuffle some cards in the background. So, yes, welcome to the Magician's Table. If you're watching on YouTube, I have a cute little cut over that I do that I created. It's like really pretty. Let's see what's on the table for January. All right. So, what is the vision that we are trying to construct this month? All right. Our card is the Knight of Wands in the upright position. Ooh, I feel like it is a very like new year, new me kind of vibe, right? Like the Knight of Wands is taking action. He's in charge. He's going for something that he wants, albeit maybe he doesn't fully understand the vision and what it's going to take, but it's like very enthusiastic. So this month, I feel like we're just constructing a reality that has more freedom and that has more fun and that has a greater sense of adventure. Now, we can think of this card a little bit as like, I'm going to find the motivation for something. And sometimes our motivation will fail us. This card can talk a little bit about the differences between discipline and motivation, but the Knight of Wands at its heart really does represent this part of ourselves that is bold enough to go for something that we desire. And I think that we all desire things, but we're often too afraid to go for them. And so this month, we're going for a reality that we think is possible. Even if there's maybe parts of our brain that are telling us like that's not possible, even if there's no evidence to what we want as being a possibility yet, we're still saying, hey, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to put action toward what I want to have happen in my life. And I think that that is a true form of freedom because it's just an act of rebellion against a system that just wants you to be lock and step and check boxes and just like move on with your life and not really consider that you have the freedom to build a life that you want and construct it in a way that makes sense for you. So this month, I feel like we're moving toward more freedom. We're moving toward more autonomy and just doing things our own way with a sense of adventure and curiosity and enthusiasm, really tapping back into our passion and our purpose. Constructing a life of purpose is very, very important. So, what's the tool? What's the resource, the specific skill or mindset required for us to do this? The Seven of Swords in the upright position. Precision in your focus. It's your mindset. Let's talk about it because the framework in which you see what you're capable of has so much to do with your life, truly, like, and how you build it. You have to be willing to hold yourself accountable when your mind starts to trick you. We might actually stay on this card for a few minutes because it's incredibly powerful. I really like the Seven of Swords because to me, it's just like a slap in the face from the deck saying, you need to get your mind right. Like you need to come front and center with like what you're telling yourself and like are you telling yourself the truth or are you telling yourself a lie? Are you believing in nonsense or are you believing in the possibility and like the best version of yourself? Let me give you a concrete example. I was on a walk like a few weeks ago and my mindset, the automatic thoughts that were coming in were telling me that there were problems when I asked myself, are there really problems? And I kind of went back and forth in my own mind about, well, why is my brain automatically categorizing this challenge as a problem? Is that true? Or am I just like defaulting to a story here and a narrative that I don't necessarily need to categorize a challenge as a problem in order to arise to the challenge and to problem solve it and to overcome it. I know you use the word problem in problem solving, and maybe that is something to parse out. However, the parts of me that were labeling and categorizing the challenge as a problem is a part of me that I'm very familiar with. And it takes a very defeatist attitude towards a lot of things. It takes a very like, woe is me mindset towards a lot of things. And I said to myself on this walk, like, okay, you can, that can be a part of my inner narrative, whatever, but it's not the whole story. I'm not going to let this defeated part of me speak for my entire experience. What I want to focus on is that there's a challenge in front of me and I want to come up with a solution to overcome the challenge. That's what I want to focus on. So, what do solutions actually look like? And so I was able to take myself out of a mindset that wasn't helpful and put it in a place that was helpful. I focused on what I can control, which a lot of it has to do with my mindset. Now, here's what I want to say about this. Nobody can control the automatic thoughts that come up. That's why they're called automatic. If you are familiar with cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT for short, you know that there are hot thoughts. And these are just, again, automatic thoughts or hot thoughts that happen like in the blink of an eye because you're triggered by something in your external reality, which is why it's so important to understand your triggers. Because when you are triggered, when I'm triggered, when we're all triggered, we've got these crazy thoughts that just pop up and they can so quickly take us into a place that's just not helpful. We can go down that same road 100 times and build a mental rut to where we actually then start believing that there's no way out of it. And that's a very um, tough place to be. My heart goes out to you. I have compassion for you if you're there. I would love to work with you one on one if you want to help, if you want some help getting out of it. But the Seven of Swords is basically saying the tool, the resource, the skill that you need in the month of January is precision focus. You really have to hold yourself accountable for talking yourself off the ledge and saying, but actually, this is the direction I want to go, not like what's being offered to me by my mind automatically. Okay. Now, I mentioned that I was doing this on a walk because part of my strategy and part of what's in my personal toolbox is taking a break and going on a walk, changing my environment, getting outside in nature. That usually helps me shift into the thinking that I want to be in versus like just spiraling and sitting and doing nothing. And I don't want to know that you guys are sitting, spiraling, doing nothing. I want to hear that you guys are taking action. But the Seven of Swords, it's like such a great card saying like you got some mental traps like we all do. So no judgment there. But what are those traps? And where do they take you? Do they take you to the places you want to go in your own mind? Do they leave you with stories that are helpful for you or hurtful for you? Do they keep you stuck or do they help you move further towards your goal? That's something that you can assess. You can break those stories down. You know where they go. You've been in your head. And then if they take you to places you don't want to go, you just need to write new stories. That's the precision focus I mean. You have to focus on the things that you actually want to believe in and the direction that you want to go. So our third card is the spark. This is the action. So what's the catalyst action to get moving? I love that. I love this so much. All right. Our catalyst action for January is the Queen of Wands in the reverse position. I'm going to take a sip of water really quickly. I believe the action is to show up without a desire to control the outcome. And that matters because so much of us show up to things with a desire to get what we want right away. When I see the wands, one of the lovely invitations from tarot, one of our warnings from the tarot is about impatience. I probably know this better than most people because I am very impatient. I have an Aries moon. I want what I want. I don't like waiting. Can I wait? Yes. Am I good at it? Kind of. I mean, I'm getting better, but I hate waiting. So look, the Queen of Wands is like a direct hit to my heart. I get her because when she's reversed, she's like, you still need to take action. As we know, she's literally answering our question about what's the catalyst action to get moving. It's like very much Nike, like just do it, like just take action. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Stop trying to control the whole story. Stop trying to control the whole A to Z process. Show up show up with the intention to give it your best. If it's messy, if you hate it, if you're uncomfortable, who cares? That's you judging the situation. That's going to happen. You're going to judge it. You're going to hate it. It's going to be messy. Okay, whatever. But still, like, do it. Because when you show up for yourself, having your own back is like what makes you invincible in a world where so many people don't have their own back and then they don't follow through and they talk themselves out of things and they never I don't know, they just never follow like anything that matters to them. And I know that we're all here because we're exploring our passions, we're exploring our purpose. We want a life of meaning and we want to make that meaning as well. I feel like a lot of us are very like rebellious and independent and we don't want to have people defining our lives for us. I guarantee you will allow everyone to define your life for you if you don't show up to live your life on your own terms. When you live afraid, I can't see you guys doing that. Like, I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that personally. And I'm not here for you to have that happen either. Your goals do not have to be lofty, they do not have to be um, this thing that like puts you on a global stage. I think I say this almost every time I talk about goals because I never know when anyone is going to listen to an episode. So some of you might be like, yes, I know this. But maybe other people have never heard that before. I think when we really get into like goal setting and when we get into going something and taking action, we very easily discount the small things. And I also feel like because of how just the perception of like things online, if it's not big, if it's not having a quote unquote big impact, then somehow there's a story of like it doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you that's so not true. Like you matter. The things you want to do matter. They do. And so go for the things that you want, even if it feels like so silly. I really want to see you showing up for yourself because I know how good I feel when I show up for myself. I know how good my friends feel. They have this sense of pride and accomplishment and like protection as well. Of like, I've got my own back. That is just such a nice self reinforcing thing that you get to do for you in your lifetime. The sooner you get to practicing that, the better you're going to be at doing it. And then having years of your life in that experience. And I think that's really freaking cool. So let me give you a quick recap. On the table for January, we're really just creating a life of passion, a month of passion, a month of going for the things that we want. We, might have more energy some days than others, and that's fine. I think that, part of the challenge is just having to overcome the mental trap. So, the tool and the resource that we need to really go for things and create a passionate life is to not fall into the trap of overthinking, overanalyzing, second guessing, falling for the stories of the inner critic, falling into self doubt, falling into nihilism. We need to have precision focus on what we're going for, what we want to feel, what we want to think, all of that. And precision focus, I also think with the Seven of Swords, using a pen, writing things down can help you stay in alignment with what really matters to you. Get on Pinterest, make a vision board, make an action board. Okay, what do things actually look like to you? How do you want to, reinforce that in your day to day life? And then with the Queen of Wands reversed, just getting messy. The catalyst is the actual movement. Um, it's getting up and doing something about what you want to have happen, being an active player in your life. And I love the last question, the way that I'm framing it, because it is all about you taking action and it's you building a life that you want. It's not you just saying, well, you lay down the cards and then everything's going to happen and I can just take a back seat. No, 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 no. Like me, you have to play an active role in making your life happen. I can't think to myself, oh, I would love a podcast and then like not do all the things necessary to make a podcast accessible for people. Like I got to show up and do it. I hope that that gives you some guidance as we move through January. Thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate you. You can hop off the episode now if all you came for was the tarot reading. If you stay, I am going to share just a little bit about what's been going on in my personal life and some life updates. Oh, and I just want to say, moving forward, that will be how the format is. In the beginning is going to be the tarot spread. It's going to be the magician's table. You're going to get all of the details up front. And if you want to dip out, you absolutely can. I will not take it personally. I know I don't have any type of social media anymore. So you guys really aren't getting that behind the scenes look in my life. I thought I would share it for you here on the podcast, but I also know that um not everybody cares about the host of a podcast. Sometimes they just want the information, and that's like totally valid. Do you? But if you're here, if you're sticking around, let me tell you about some life updates. I took a much needed vacation in December. It was glorious. I really felt like I got to decompress and do what my mind needed most. December was a whirlwind. There was a lot that happened in the nonprofit that I work for in a good way. There was just a lot of like there's a lot of marketing that goes in December because of like the holidays, and then it's Giving Tuesday, and that requires a lot of attention and bandwidth. And so does thinking about a year ahead. looking at how well we performed that year. December is a big month. And so it just took up a lot of mental space. And then, to go on a vacation at the end of the year also requires a lot of front loading. So it was a busy month. And on top of that, I ended up booking more corporate gigs, more tarot gigs, um, which was incredible. I felt like it was a blur. And then when I was on vacation, I was just like, fuck yes, like I needed this so bad. I felt like I could finally breathe and just, I didn't think about things I didn't want to think about, which was really nice. Um, a little bit of my mind was like, I need to think about the podcast and the structure um, for some of these other episodes, but I also honestly didn't put any thought into it. Like the only thought was I should think about it, but I didn't do anything. And I'm so okay with that. I really am because I can't, I just can't be the type of person to fake it. I know if I could, I would, but I can't. And so I know that that means like the impact of that is that I might not sound totally ready when I hop on an episode. I know that that might mean that the episodes this year are kind of fragmented, and so be it. So be it. You love me. So this is me. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. But I'm going to bring you some guests this year, and I'm really stoked about that. I've got a few on board already, so it's going to be good. It's going to be a good year. And then my life offline has been glorious. Like I can't even tell you. I have no FOMO. I do not care about what's happening online. Like I don't. I don't care about the memes. I don't care about the trends. I don't care about needing to understand a freaking trend. It is interesting too. Like now that I've been offline since October, like right around Halloween, so like the end of October, when I'm in conversation with people, I notice like when they're talking about a trend or something that is happening online, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like, I just can't relate. And I do ask people, like, oh, like, where does it come from or whatever. Like, so I have an idea of like what they're trying to tell me, like what they want me to understand in the connection. But generally speaking, like, I just don't care. About I don't care about the online stuff. Sorry. I do care about people trying to connect with me. I just don't care about the online stuff. And my mind feels better for it. Let me tell you, I have been able to focus on things that I want to focus on. And my mind just feels free. Like I'm not thinking about numbers. I'm not thinking about what I need to create for the next post. I'm not thinking about, well, what if this other person is talking about this? I don't want to sound redundant. Like I have cleared a lot of the mental, I guess fuckery is the best way to explain it. That happens when you put yourself out there online and market your business online. It takes up a lot of mental bandwidth. And I am at the place of like admitting I don't really want to get back to trying to make that happen. I don't want to make that like try to fit into my brain. I don't care. So that's been my offline journey. Um, I love that for me. And then therapy is going great. We did a recap at the end of 2025, and my therapist asked me, how do I feel going into a new year compared to how I felt the year before? And I feel so much better this year for a lot of reasons. One of those is that I know what my partner and I are focusing on. We have very clear goals. We have outlined steps of like what we're going to do to accomplish those goals. We have also, we're holding ourselves accountable to what we can control and can't control and what we want to focus on. And that feels really good. It feels good to do it for myself as an individual and then to do it in partnership. I'm really stoked about that. Work feels very good as well. There is a clear outline of what we're going for, what we want to accomplish, and how we're going to accomplish that. The only place that's lacking really with like what to accomplish and how is the podcast. I'm not going to lie. So I'll get there. I think honestly, if I just talk about it right now, like the goal is to just remain consistent and put out some really helpful information for you guys. And I think I don't know. I think I want this project to just be something that maybe does have more fluidity to it than being like so rigid and like outlined like 6 months ahead of time. But yeah, therapy is going well. I wrote a letter to myself as well, which is super cute because I get to open it in December of this year, 2026, and read back all the things I said to myself. And so I had also done this at the end of 2024. So this December, or sorry, December of 25, I opened the letter to myself and read back things. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so cute. I really like that process. I encourage you to do it if you haven't ever done it. Write down some goals, some things you want to focus on. I actually did everything I said I was going to do. And that included making more art. That included staying consistent in my walking and my exercising. It included connecting with friends. It included like letting go of things that don't matter to me anymore and facing those like hard truths. And so that feels really good to like recognize that I followed through and came through for myself. Like I love that. And I actually taped my letter to myself this year to the back of this photo that I have on my desk. I'm going to show you guys. Oh, maybe it won't show you. There it is. This is just like a little photo of it's a little collage of all the baby me's, all the baby versions of myself. If you're like, why? Earlier 2025, when I was doing some work on some past trauma and stuff like that, it was really important that I connected with a part of me that needs to protect myself. I mean, as as kids, we're all vulnerable, and there were so many parts of myself as a child that went unprotected from people. And so, in order for me to tap into feeling a sense of protection over myself, I have baby photos of myself so that I can really connect with that younger version and kind of like show up for her today and say, like, I am stepping into that protective energy. And no, I can't go back, right? I can't like change anything that happened in the past, but I can be present now and move forward with a greater sense of protection. And the visual for me really like does it because who the fuck wouldn't want to show up for a baby? I mean, I don't like kids, you know that? Like I'm not going to have kids or anything like that, but I would never like want a baby to ever be like hurt or like not protected. That's insane. So like the visual of like little baby me really touches on my heart and reminds myself like to follow through and to stand up for myself and to advocate for the things that I need when I need them. And it's just it's a powerful thing. And if you haven't ever printed out a baby photo of yourself, you should. Yours are cute. um, I have a couple more upcoming tarot gigs in February. I'm doing a bachelorette party. I think I have two bachelorette parties. But I'm excited about that because I love working with women. I love doing a bachelorette party. It's always so fun. And then I made a ton of art over my winter break. I gifted some of that art to people, which I was really, really happy to do because I don't know, sometimes I don't feel like art belongs to me. I don't know how to explain it, but the art that I make, I don't like keeping. I've always been like that. I don't know, it just feels like it belongs to others. So as I make things, I think of other people and then gift it to the people I think about. And one of my goals this year is to make more art, do more art. And let's see what else has been going on. I got a new office chair, a new office, not in full setup, but I got like a new keyboard, which is so lush. I'm obsessed with it. It lights up, it's crystal clear. I have a crystal clear mouse that also lights up, and the keyboard has like that really fun popping sound. I'm not sure if any of you are like into ASMR. I love that little thing of like just showing up in a workspace that feels good, it feels clean. The white aesthetic and clear aesthetic is like really vibing with me this year. Um, yeah, I feel it's like a very fresh start. So I'm looking forward to 2026. I think that there's going to be a lot of ups and downs as usual. But like I said, when I was working with my therapist, like the things I want to focus on this year are my resilience. I know that I am resilient, and I also know that I can still improve in a lot of areas. I really just want to feel strong from within. I want to continue building my identity, and I want to continue exploring my identity as an artist. And it's not something that I'm like super public about. I don't really showcase my art. Like I said, I don't have social media or anything like that. I've been painting since I was a kid, actually. Um, but I don't know, it's like one of those things that I really want to understand more about myself. I think that in terms of like being an artist, I feel like this podcast is an art form, and I feel like my whole life is an art form. It's very philosophical, but that is true for me. I know I'm not the only person that thinks like that. So, being able to build a life that matters to me matters to me. So that's what I'm going to focus on this year. And I don't have too much else to really update you guys on. I just know that I love that vacation. I am daydreaming about it because I really needed that time off, and it's set the tone for what my future vacations need to be for me. And it also set the tone for the way my weekends need to look, because that time off, I wasn't occupying my brain with things that, again, were like work related, um, personal, or for the nonprofit. I wasn't connected to, like, I just wasn't using my brain to think about things and problem solve and like any of it. I read so many pages of a book. I was so good. That's what my weekends, I want my weekends to look like that. And I'm working on crafting my weekends like that throughout the month of January. I fully understand that not every weekend looks like that, but it's just a feeling and a sense of refreshing. No, that's not the right word. Um, Decompressing and renewal. Those are the words that I want to carry throughout the year. So that's it. That's really the update, guys. So I hope that I get to see you in the month of February, and we'll talk soon. Bye.